Pay your debts, stay in line, planting streams, people die. I'm a man, I'm not your product. We're all owned by the bank to keep stocks up. I'm a victim, you play the predator, but I'm a citizen, and you're the senator. I'm making paper, really paper. My money ain't worth shit, it's all fake, huh? I don't got a face, I only got a voice. I hope you got the time, cause you ain't got a choice.
My definition of a polecat is generally a politician who's in it for himself, who's looking not to do public service, but to do personal greed and advance his own agenda for personal reasons.
We've got the perfect polecat for this first segment. His name is Neel Kashkari. Haven't heard of him? Does everyone remember the $700 billion bank bailout just a few years ago? Well, guess what? He's the banker from Goldman Sachs who was in charge of handing out all that money, all your money to the banks. Well, now Neel is planning to run for governor of California. He joined State Assemblyman Tim Donnelly, a Tea Party favorite, in the Republican race to oust Governor Brown. Brown has yet to declare his candidacy, but if he does, all three would compete in an open primary with the top two vote getters going to the general election in November, regardless of party. Obviously,
this guy will win the vote to the banks. You know he's going to have the banks with him all the way and all of their money because, after all, he just gave them $700 billion of free money and passed it out. That's got to make him popular. Shoot, anybody give me that kind of money, I might vote for him too. Anyone can run for office. More power to him. That's what America is. If you want to run for office in the United States and you're qualified, in which the qualifications are easy to be president, you just got to be 35 and born in the country. That's all it says. He's perfectly welcome to run for office, but then again, you have to stand up for the record and what you've done. And I can't believe voters would pick out a guy who personally handed out $700 billion of their money to the banks.
He was also the one who allowed AIG to give out $503 million in bonuses to their top officials.
Not only did he give the money to them, he had it with no stipulations on what they used it for. Big bonuses for the CEO, the separation of the rich and the poor, the separation of the worker and the CEO, getting farther apart. This guy's part of the reason why that's happening.
Kashkari, his platform is bettering education. He's quoted as saying, "Today, the gift of good education and the opportunity it creates are out of reach for millions of struggling Californians. That's why I'm running for governor, to create jobs and give kids a quality education. Jobs and education, that's it. That's my platform." So maybe he hopes to throw a little bit of that leftover $700 billion at the education system.
Because obviously we weren't educated enough to keep track of him while he handed out our $700 billion. So he's probably right. We do need a better education. Whether he's going to give it to us or not remains to be seen.
Mr. Kashkari, you were asked a question about whether or not you thought a $3 million bonus to an executive at AIG was excessive. And from my understanding of the answer that you gave to Mr. Sherman, your answer was no. Is that correct?
Congressman, my answer was, I don't have a number in my head that says this is an appropriate bonus level, and that is not.
Well, does anybody have a number in their head when we spend $125 billion worth of taxpayers' money on AIG? Is a $3 million bonus too much to give to a person who was there and responsible for when that company went under? Yes or no?
Congressman, our track record is clear.
Your track record is clear here. I want a yes or no.
Congressman.
I represent, now let me tell you something. I represent a city, the largest city in my district, has 11.3% unemployment, $41,000 a year median income. In 1980, Rockford, Illinois led the nation in unemployment at 25%. I'm asking you right now, and I want an answer, and there's a reason for it. Is $3 million a year bonus, a $3 million bonus, is that excessive to a company owned 80% by the United States government, and as to which over $125 billion of taxpayers' money has been invested?
It is excessive for a failing institution, yes.
All right, so are you going to ask for the money back? Yes or no?
Forgive me, Congressman, which money back?
The $3 million bonus that just went to the AIG executive. Are you going to ask for it back?
Again, Congressman, I don't know the details of the bonus that was paid.
That's the bonus. If he got a bonus of $3 million, are you going to ask for it back?
Again, Congressman, I don't know the details of the bonuses.
Mr. Kashkari,
yes,
an executive at AIG just got a bonus of $3 million. The three executives from the big three said they'd work for $1 a year. I'm asking you, if that's the case, is TARP going to ask for the money back if you got the $3 million bonus?
Again, Congressman, I'm going to have to look into it and get back to you.
Mr. Kashkari, I want to suggest something here, and it's not because of, maybe it's because of the people that I represent. We can't relate to you in your world. I don't know where you come from or the people with whom you deal on a day-to-day basis. But when you sit there and cannot take a position as to whether or not a $3 million bonus to a failed company, and as to which the taxpayers have put $125 billion in assets, perhaps you're not the right person for the job. Perhaps you don't understand this situation at all. Perhaps we should put someone in your position who's one of my community bankers, who understands people. What would you think if you earned $41,000 a year and the city in which you live has 11.3% unemployment? Yes, and 5 of the last past governors in the state of Illinois have been indicted. And you sit here in charge of all this money, and you can't tell them whether or not a $3 million bonus to an executive at that field institution is excessive.
May I answer?
Of course.
There have been some press reports, and again, I don't know the details of the specific case you're referring to. There have been some press reports about AIG that are referred to bonus schemes. When I've looked into it and had our people look into it, there have been some cases where they had deferred compensation that was already earned by people, not the CEOs.
Well, deferred compensation of $3 million?
Remember, Congressman, we got rid of the management team of AIG.
Well, who are these new clowns getting that money?
Again, Congressman.
Well, why can't you just give a simple answer so the people I represent can have confidence in you? We don't have confidence in your answer. How can we have confidence in your decisions?
Because I'm trying to be precise in my answer, Congressman.
Your answer is imprecise. I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand at all the pain and the hurting that's going on in this country of the people who are on the verge of losing their jobs. And you can sit there and not come to a decision as to whether or not $3 million bonus is too much. If you even have to ask that question, whether it's too much, Mr. Kashkari, you're not the man for the job. We need somebody else in that position. We need somebody with a long-term experience, somebody who's dealt with loans of ordinary, common people, somebody who understands the hurt that this country is going through, somebody that can feel their pain and the anxiety which they express to me on a daily basis. On the basis of your answer, sir, I think you should step aside.
Congressman, the Secretary is passionate about this as well. And permit me,
Passionate about what?
helping homeowners, Congressman.
He is? Where? What country?
You're on TV. You're the man. I don't know how much we're paying you, but you're our employee.
You know, we can go ring around the rosy here, but you're here today because Congress is feeling that you played a bait-and-switch game.
That statement that you just made, you will hear about for the rest of your career.
Is Kashkari a chump?
Republican Neel Kashkari.
Career politicians are clueless about earning a dollar. All they know is how to spend yours. I'm Neel Kashkari. I'm not a politician, so I actually understand hard work. As governor, I'll cut taxes, move people from welfare to work, and take an axe to wasteful spending. First up, Jerry Brown's crazy train. I'm Neel Kashkari, and I'm not afraid to make a few cuts.
Neel Kashkari for governor.